we all are researchers and we do empirical research mostly. And when we do empirical research, so data set, this data, sometimes it can be qualitative data, but mostly quantitative data is an integral part of our research. And we struggle a lot to collect data. Sometimes we confine ourselves to one region or few regions with number of sample size. Then panelists ask question, referees ask question whether our sampling method we have followed, that is scientific sampling, whether the number of sample we followed, that is adequate or well representative for our population or not. Many question comes related to the data itself. But if someone collects the data and provide us, if someone collects data across the different regions of our country, is a big country covering every states, literally every states and many districts, and they provide the data for us, then how happy we will be. We must be very happy that someone else has collected the data and they are providing the data for some 5 lakhs individual, 5 lakhs enterprise, 6 lakh enterprise, and they have followed some scientific technique to collect the data. So no one will question the data collection methodology. No one will question even the adequacy in the number of sampling, because the sample size is so large, it is few lakhs of data sets. So National Sample Survey Organization, presently it is National Sample Survey Office, they conduct such surveys, these large scale surveys throughout this country and in different topics, because they we will discuss in the next few slides, and they provide a ready-made data. When I say ready-made, it is not fully ready for use. You have to do little bit of work with their data sets to make it in usable format for your purpose. So we are going to discuss today that how to make use this large unit level data, that 5 lakh, 6 lakh data provided by National Sample Survey Organizations, with some example how that when it appears in publication, how does it look, how to present the data in presentable format, and then to come up with that presentable format, what steps you need to follow in the process of extraction and use of that large data sets. So this next 1.5 hours, we are going to discuss that. So before going to this our exercise, what I will do, I'll just give a glimpse of NSO itself in the next 5 to 7 minutes, so that you will come to know what is NSO, what is their work. Then we will come to our business. But we have several ministries, out of which this Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation is the ministry responsible for data collection, and they provide some data which are used both for official statistics as well as for research purposes. So MOSPI has 2 wings. One is a Central Statistical Office, another is a National Sample Survey Office. Central Statistical Office mostly provides data related to the macroeconomy, like national income, the price level, the GDP. So they provide data. They do not collect data. They also analyze the data. Then they come up with some macro level figure for our economy. And National Sample Survey Organization conducts surveys at the grassroots level based on their scientific technique, and they have their huge manpower as well. So MOSPI has 2 wings, statistics wing and program implementation wing. Program implementation is certainly their targeted program to reduce poverty, this thing, that thing. So statistics wing include this National Sample Survey Offices. And National Sample Survey organization carried out this large-scale national level surveys for capturing several important variables pertaining to Indian economy. Some of you might be working with employment, unemployment. I have seen one of the sub-theme of this research. The core research, the core topic of this entire workshop is finance. So the National Sample Survey Office conduct studies on this data and investment survey of the individuals. Then they conduct surveys on this consumption expenditure of the households. Then education and health status of the household. These are their regular surveys. In addition to that, they conduct surveys related to the enterprises, but unorganized enterprises. When I say enterprises, because organized enterprise survey is conducted by annual survey of industries on a regular basis every year. So they don't repeat the same survey. They just conduct the residual part, that is the unorganized enterprises, which are not covered in this annual survey of statistics. But the size of this survey again is huge. They cover both unorganized service sector as well as unorganized manufacturing sector. So this NSSO started its operation in way back 1950 itself with the objective to conduct surveys on various socioeconomic aspects. And this directorate of NSSO was assigned the job of conducting the field work, whereas the other work, that sampling design, this schedule of inquiries, writing instruction, training of the field work, processing data and writing report, these activities were given initially to Indian Statistical Institute, very highly reputed institute in India. But in 1970, they have changed their structure. The directorate of NSSO was reorganized and all aspects of its work were brought under single government organization called National Sample Survey Organization, NSSO. And after formation of this National Statistical Commission in 2005, the governing council of NSSO was dissolved and it was taken over by National Statistical Council. So over time, the structure is little bit changed, but the objective remains same. So what is this NSSO, the NSC and National Sample Survey today? This NSSO functions under overall guidance of this National Statistical Commission and the working group constituted by it or each round of the socioeconomic survey. So National Statistical Commission decides that this time NSSO conducts this survey, so short-term and long-term program, and what methodology they need to adopt. NSS prepare the sampling design, concepts, definition, questionnaire, because every survey has its different questionnaire. We will discuss that. And every questionnaire is some 10 to 12 page length questionnaire. So 5 lakh individuals data, 6 lakh individuals data with some kind of 200 variables, 100 variables. It's a huge data set for research. So NSC approves this sample design, concepts, definition, questionnaire, estimation procedure, then tabulation plan. They approve the methodology also. They approve even after that survey report also, because recently we had debate of this employment unemployment survey, whether unemployment figures are correct or not, because they need to approve it, then the report get published and data get published. So these are the regular surveys in regular basis. This consumer expenditure and employment unemployment, these surveys conducted twice in a decade. That means it's quinquennial. Now every 5 years we have this data, consumer expenditure and employment unemployment. Whereas this social consumption, health, education, this is also quinquennial, but sometimes some kind of irregularities are there. So for few decades we may get one in decade also. Unorganized manufacturing and service sector, this survey is also quinquennial on regular basis. It started from the manufacturing survey started long back 1994, 95. This unorganized service sector survey was started in 2001-2. So it also has been continued for every 5 years gap. And then data and investment survey and land and livestock holding. This survey is conducted once in a decade. It has been started in 1993, then it came in 2003, and the latest is available for 2013. And then they conduct some open round, because sometimes they may feel that some other topics are important. For example, tourism is important this time. So their NSC decides and they go for that open round survey. So they have this scope for open round based on the necessity of that particular time. So subject covered in the recent past, I have given in 17, 18, we have both this health and education expenditure survey. In 2013, the latest, we have data and investment survey, situation assessment survey. In 2012, we have this housing condition survey. 2011-12, I have mentioned specifically employment, unemployment, and household consumer expenditure, because there is a little bit change in the pattern of employment, unemployment after 2011-12, after the formation of new government. So they initially stopped this survey, but they have conducted this employment, unemployment in different form, keeping the questionnaire more or less with some modification. That periodic labor force survey they have introduced in 2017-18. And we have that unorganized, unincorporated non-agricultural enterprises, manufacturing and services. The latest round is available for 2015-16. So you got a brief glimpse about this surveys. It based on your interest, that which area is related to your research, so you can explore that data sets. So in terms of the sampling technique, for every round, this NSSO goes for this multi-stage stratified random sampling. The first stage units are always census villages in rural sector, and urban frame survey blocks in urban sector. So ultimate stage units are household in the rural and urban sector. So it has multi-stage scientific sampling, and they conduct most of these large surveys. They divide 1 year into 4 phases. So this 4 phase is extremely important to understand. As a researcher, you need to understand, because if you deal with some surveys which are very much related to the peak season and lean season, then in peak season possibly that data will reveal a brighter picture. In lean season, sample collected will not reveal that kind of picture. But some of the surveys are equally representative across all the sub rounds throughout the year. So that can be clubbed, that those data, they provide the data after clubbing all the 4 rounds, but they mention the information about these 4 rounds, so that a researcher, if a researcher is interested to take out 1 or 2 sub rounds separately, they can do, and they can conduct the analysis. And so this sub rounds data available for this sample villages and blocks. So special feature of this NSSO is NSSO questionnaire have been subjected to revision from time to time in relation to the changes taking place in the current economic situation. And for instance, employment unemployment survey has introduced some new and relevant questions on the subject of informal sector in the year 99-2000. And in addition, NSSO has introduced different new surveys relevant to the contemporary times also. And the last but not the least, most important point you should remember as a researcher, those who have already used NSSO or large scale data, you might be aware of this fact. Those who have not used, they should take a note that NSSO provides information on multiplier. They create one variable called multiplier. Based on that, you can create weight, and every cases, every sample you can give weight, and you can generate the population features, that is parameters, based on the statistic. You have 5 lakh sample, but based on the 5 lakh sample, you can come up with an estimation for your 130 crore population in India. So it is possible because they adjust their sampling importance with multiplier. And this multiplier variable is exceedingly essential to have analysis at the national level. Even if we want to represent the ratio, the percentage figures, still we go for using this multiplier, this weight, to get the parameters. So parameters are possible, parameters can be estimated based on the statistic in NSSO data. So NSSO data has certain limitations. I only had written this a few years back. It was published in 2016, but I had presented in their conference in 2014. Some of the limitations are not relevant today because initially data were used to come in different formats. We had, it was segregated by states, so we had to merge every states. Then we had to merge each blocks. So now those kind of complications are not there. When I have done my PhDs a decade and half back, that time these things used to come, but now this problem is no more. So the data is at least in much better fashion it appears, so that researcher, it is kind of user friendly today, the data we have. So it has the little other limitations, that sometimes they do not maintain that year gap, because quinquennial, I said that it is quinquennial, every 5 years gap data appears. Sometimes they delay and they appear, the data appear 1 year later. So for to have a kind of this with the balanced panel data, with the, first of all, this is not panel, but at least if we can create pseudo panel, then at the state level or district level, then also these year gaps are different. And the most important limitations of NSSO data, you should remember as a researcher, this is not a panel data. Even if a data round is repeated, for example, employment, unemployment surveys are repeated in every 5 years, but we do not know who were the individuals. So there is no individual identification code, so that you can match that this man was doing something in 2000 and this man, the same man, what he is doing in 2020. So 20 years back, what that man is doing, you cannot check. But ASI data, that is kind of panel data, but that is for formal enterprise. But these NSSO surveys are not panel surveys. So these are repetitive individual surveys, only cross-section, repetitive cross-section surveys. But you can pull the data together to see the macro changes over time. Or you can create pseudo panel, as Nobel laureate Agnes Deaton said, that how to create pseudo panel. Little bit, you have to come up little higher level from the individual level to the district level. So district remains same and well representative data in the district. So you can create a figure for the district and you can create a panel for the every 5 years gap for that district. And so is with the state. So this is the major limitations with NSSO data. But even despite having these limitations, NSSO data is widely useful. It is for our research, especially empirical research. So having said that, now we know, we have an idea about the what is NSSO data. We are going to give an example, as Dr. Biju said initially, that said you give some idea about the publication, because how to come up with a good publication. So here I am going to explain my 2 publications quickly, each with some 10-12 minutes, so that you will come to know that how NSSO data can be used and can be framed in publishable format to come up with a publication in very good journals. So one paper I am going to present, and both the papers are based on NSSO data of 2 different rounds. One is the first paper I am going to present on why is unemployment higher among the educated. The paper was published in 2018 in Economic and Political Weekly, And soon after publication of this paper, it was quoted in few newspaper also, because educated unemployment was a booming topic. So you will come to know how, even this is mostly descriptive paper, I have little bit econometric analysis in this paper towards end. So how even descriptive analysis can be interesting using NSSO data. And the second paper I am going to discuss, it is published, it is a little rigorous paper in terms of, are you telling anything? Okay. So a second paper I'm going to discuss, it got published in Journal of Asian Economics. Purposefully, I have taken this paper because most of you are interested in finance, but I do not work with macro finance certainly, because I work with labor and education related issues. But here I have a paper which has little bit relevance with your microfinance. So impact of credit accessibility on the earnings of self-employed businesses in India. And the paper got published in an Elsevier journal, Journal of Asian Economics. It has impact factor 1.7. So I am going to discuss these two papers. Then I will show the raw data of NSSO one round, and how to extract the data, how to merge the data. I always prefer to provide hands-on exercises, but here I am unable to see your face and your computer. So what I will demonstrate the steps. You take a note. If in case you face any problem in future, don't hesitate to contact me. So let me proceed. The paper visible, Bijo? Kind.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The slide is visible right now.
Not slide. I have opened the paper that why is unemployment higher among the educated. Is it visible?
No, sir. No.
Paper is not visible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not visible.
Okay. Okay. Give me just 1 minute.
Sure, sir. Take your own time.
Now is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible, sir. Perfect. Why is unemployment higher?
Yeah. So this is the paper I published in 2018, and some way media, the academia, as well as this polity, both are interested about the issues. So what I am going to say, I will give you an idea how to frame up, because most of you are a researcher and some of you are faculty members as well. So how to frame a paper based on empirical analysis, and then we will come to this data. So here I have started with a quote given by Minsa related to this unemployment. What is that quote? That educated workers enjoy at least 3 basic advantages over less educated workers in the labor market: higher wages, greater upward mobility in income and occupation, greater employment stability. And that is quite obvious, because that's why there is lots of investment in this education and human capital, that after this investment, that this people will get certain benefits in the job market. But ultimately, whether it is reaching to this level. So I have brought some of the discussions based on international literature, even in US also, what is happening with this educated people in India. Then the analysis starts with some international figure. But let me tell you, here is the cracks. You have to motivate your issue, because this is the expectation. But this is not happening, that educated people are not higher in all the 3 parameters in every places. In some places, exceptions also happen. And why does this exception take place? That is the question. So you have to motivate your issue, and soon after motivation, you have to mention your objective very clearly. So here our objective, I have mentioned, this article focuses on the problem of educated unemployment in India and attempts to explore whether the different socioeconomic and regional factors responsible for educated unemployment differ from uneducated unemployment. So here only I am mentioning the analysis is done using a large and nationally representative sample of individual data provided by NSSO for the year 1983 to 2011-12. So my analysis starts. Still, I have not gone to this NSSO data. My analysis starts with a glimpse of what is happening, this education unemployment rate across different educational categories and across different educational levels world over, different countries world over. So here we have seen a pattern. You see, for developed country, if I take example Australia, that you see as education increases. Here the first row of this table represents different education level: pre-primary, lower secondary, pre-primary and primary, then lower secondary, upper secondary, post-secondary. So this unemployment rate decreases as education level increases. This is now you can you should not concentrate on the last column because this is the average all levels of education. So as education increases, unemployment rate decreases for developed countries. But when it comes to these developing countries, you see for Brazil, initially it has increased 4.2, 5.5, 6.1. Then it has come down at the extremely high level in the tertiary level, but initially it has gone up. If I take the example of Chile, that with the education level increase, this unemployment rate also increases. You see the surprising, the contradictory figure. But what Mincer said, that educated people are in a better position to get job. But what data is showing here world over, that no, it is not true every country. Even in some countries, that educated people, this unemployment rate increases with the increase of education level. Educated people are even in much vulnerable position in the job market than the uneducated people. So what is the story of India? If it is true for India, why is it happening? So here I have started discussion with India. So as an empirical researcher, when you move for any discussion, you have to be very particular about the parameter of estimation. When I said now I have moved to this unemployment rate, because this is the data I have, the table I have created based on NSSO data. So estimation is very much dependent on the definition I follow. So you have to be very particular of the indicator, the definition of every indicator. So here unemployment rate. So how did I measure unemployment rate? So before coming to anything, before raising this question by the reviewer or anyone else, it is our responsibility to put the definition of unemployment rate itself. So I have started like this. In India, NSSO provides the definitional distinction between proportion unemployed and unemployed rate. So researchers are not confused. Accordingly, most of the developing countries are high not this one. Yeah, this one. According to them, proportion unemployed is defined as the number of persons or percentage unemployed per 1,000 persons or percentage. Whereas unemployment rate is defined as the number of persons or percentage unemployed per 1,000 persons or percentage in the labor force. So the difference is very clear here. That this proportion unemployed is number of persons or percentage per 1,000 population. Here my denominator is the population, but here my denominator is the labor force when I say that unemployment rate. So those who voluntarily excluded from the labor force means someone is studying, someone is is not interested in the job market, fulfilling domestic duties or child care responsibilities. They are not in the labor force, but they are voluntarily unemployed, so they are excluded. I'm telling you, out of the total labor force, those who want to have a job but not able to get a job. So the unemployment rate is measured in that ratio. So and then again, Again, this unemployment rate with the definition also can be measured based on three definitions, because NSSO provides unemployment measures based on weekly status, daily status, and usual status. Usual status, somewhere the magnitude of unemployed for the period of 365 days for annual basis, whereas weekly status provides that per week, and this daily status is the daily basis. So here we have used usual status. Within usual status also we have principal status and subsidiary status. So here I have clearly mentioned in the table itself that I have used unemployment rate based on the usual principal status category. So fantastic. Now I have across education level. If I see for India, this unemployment rate, this table 2 portrays a picture that unemployment rate increases with the increase of the education level. Last two rows are the average only. It is graduation and above. Last row is at the secondary and above, and this is graduation and above. So you now just forget about the last row because it is secondary and above, just to give one picture that if someone is interested to compare this graduate and above and secondary and above. But here you see that unemployment rate increases 6 to 14, 14 to 25, again 33, again 56, again 97. So see, and it is marginally decreased, it is 84. So because this diploma and certificate course accounts for this technically educated people account for the highest unemployment rate. The highest unemployment rate. So this unemployment rate increases with the increase of the education level. But if we compare over time, you see at the lower level also for illiterate it is more or less stagnant, but literate and above you can see that from 22 to 14, then 71 to 25. So unemployment rate has come down for every level. But this trend, even till today, unemployment rate is higher for the educated people as compared to the uneducated people. So when you present a table, it should have a purpose of comparison. So comparison across rows, comparison across column. And again, this data has been bifurcated using the same. Now the entire paper is based on this NSSO data only. And this first two table is based on 4 rounds of NSSO data, and every round has some kind of 4 lakh to 5 lakh individuals data. So here these differences we have made the same, this picture of this relationship between education and unemployment rate by rural and urban. In urban areas we could see that unemployment rate is higher. You see that illiterate people, unemployment rate is higher for rural as compared in urban as compared to rural. Again, for the literate and primary, urban is higher. Urban is higher for middle, secondary, higher secondary, but it has come down after that. You see diploma and a graduate. What does it mean? You see that rural areas, there are some scope for low profile informal jobs or NREG activities for lower educated or uneducated people. But when it comes to this educated people, their participation, scope for participation in the job market in the rural areas is much lower as compared to the urban areas. So again, from this comparison, you have to draw some inferences. It is possible to draw excellent inferences based using this NSSO data. So I am proceeding to present my next figure. I have presented using 4 rounds of data that unemployment rate is higher for the educated people than uneducated people. You might be thinking, oh, then uneducated people are much happier than educated people. Then why are we studying? Why are we breaking our head to get education? Yes. So answer is there in this figure itself. Unemployment is lower for uneducated, but why are they working? Are they working? Are they happy? Are they working in a very sophisticated job in the labor market? Let us see. And now onwards, we have concentrated only on the latest round of NSSO data, that time latest, that 2000, because PLFS data was not released that time. So 2011-12 data was the latest data. So based on that data sets, we have just made a comparison between educated and uneducated. And here you can see this educated represents this gray color, and this black one is the dark color is this one. Uneducated. So darker one is the darker one represents uneducated, lighter one is representing educated. You see, uneducated people are employed, but where? They are mostly in own account works. They are in helper in household, and they are mostly in casual wage labor in another type of work. But they, when I say the regular salaried job, you can see that educated represents larger size as compared to the uneducated. So uneducated people are in the job market, but they are with vulnerable informal jobs like on account worker or helper in the household enterprise or some kind of low paid casual work. So, but what inference I can draw? Educated people either in the more in the regular salaried job, or they prefer to be in the unemployed category. Here I have tried to link with the existing literature, existing theory, that this raises the question whether enhancement of educational capabilities always improve the choice bundle and the freedom to choose. What do we know that from the capability theory? It's anyone saying anything?
Participants, please mute your mic. Yes, sir, you can continue, sir.
Okay, thank you. So here, see, you have to relate with the theory that, see, we know the famous theory, capability, human capability, that if human capability is enhanced through some interventions of education or health, then their choice bundle improves. Their freedom to choose it improves. But here we can see that given the structure of our society, that educated people do not join, they hesitate to join in this low profile informal jobs. So here it questions on the education, this capability theory itself, that sometimes even the given structure, it may restrict your choice bundle. So it need not necessarily that enhancement of capability will increase your choice bundle, because educated people are restricting themselves only in this high profile jobs, because that is the structure, because here the individuals are identified based on their education, based on their work, unlike some developed countries or other places. So here then we have tried to see this educated unemployment story by different age cohorts, and we can see this from the table 4, that both educated and uneducated unemployment for younger age group is means, if I say this unemployment rate, you see that younger age group is higher as compared to the older age group. In uneducated also, you see 3.9 as compared to the older age group 0.4 and 0.3. But where do this younger people work initially? You see, they mostly work in helper in household enterprises, and they work in casual wage labor. But as age grows, they move towards better settlement. Own account worker also improves, and then the regular salary improves a lot from 33 to 38 and again 47. But this casual work, it comes down. Even this helping in the household enterprises, that also comes down. So again, this raises the question related to this basic questions of unemployment. So is unemployment frictional or is permanent? or there is this waiting time after education. The youth are investing substantial time to find a job. So is this our labor market structure like that compels youth to wait for quite some time to get a job? So it raises several questions. But one initiative from government side is that to enhance this employment for both educated and unemployed youth based on skill development. And here the skill development, this we have just tried to conduct an analysis of this unemployment rate, this different types of work status among these different types of technically educated people.
Sir, shall I interfere?
Yes, please.
Sir, can you explain something about the data mining and data customization for this particular topic? I mean,
I will go. Certainly, I have raw data. I will show. I am just giving them the picture. Then my next half an hour, I will just show how to extract the data and come up with these figures, come up with such type of things. That is the part of second half of my lecture. So let us understand that the data can be presented in this kind of manner. So this is the form. If they know and then they have a target, no, I have to reach. I have to analyze my data to come to that level. So here, so across different types of this technical education level, even with this technical education level, this unemployment rate exists. So that means by itself, this technical education or vocational training by itself does not necessarily guarantee employment. Even after having this technical education and vocational training, people remain unemployed in the job market. So what additional policies should be? So what we have even done for this across their enrollment in different employment exchanges, just to see with the same data sets, even we have tried to link with this information asymmetry and search and matching problem in the job market. Whether this employment exchanges reduces that search and matching problem, because to establishing a link between this employer and employees. So here, but still after registering a large number of people remain unemployed. So effectiveness of this system also questions. So then again, we have that, as I said, we have data across state. State is a variable there. So we can club the state and we can segregate the state there. So here, because at 35 state, if you put a picture of 35 states, it will look very clumsy picture. It would be very difficult to come up with a conclusion from that, come up with an inference from that particular figure. So here, what we have done, we have clubbed the states first by three categories: developed, developing, and underdeveloped states, because they're based on their human development indices. And we have seen there this for developed, developing, and underdeveloped states, the unemployment rate. And surprisingly, we have seen in the developed states, unemployment rate for educated people is much higher as compared to the underdeveloped and developing states. Why is it happening? We had to search for explanation. Somewhere we have given some explanation that in developed states means they are better in their social sector and education development. So they have the large size of educated people as compared to the developing. So again, we have clubbed the state, because that we have somewhere related to the supply of educated people. So what will be the demand for educated people? Again, we have clubbed the state using the same variable, that state. And then we have linked the data that then we have just computed educated unemployment across this unemployment rate across different education level. And we see that high industrial state represents, you see this is the high industrial state, except this diploma courses, this always in this graduate and above, we can see that high unemployment rate in high industrial state is lower as compared to this medium and lower industrial state. So what does it mean? That even there is a substantial percentage of unemployed. So the the issue is here that this demand is certainly a problem. There is lack of industrialization that creates the demand for worker. At the same time, educated people do not want to work in the low profile job. They are searching for the high profile, the formal jobs only, but we do not have sufficient number of formal jobs to accommodate all the educated people in the labor market. So we have done some kind of econometric analysis because we have all variables in Nsso data. This table, we have age of the individual, we have household size, we have gender, we have their marital status, we have their religion, their caste, their location, every information we have. And you know, to run a rigorous econometric analysis, you need to control your regression equation with several important good control variables. So we have this control covariates and we have estimated. So our conclusion is more or less in the similar line. I am not going to the conclusion, but you have now got one idea about how to make use of Nsso data to come up with a presentable format. So I have another paper, but I will not spend much time in that paper. I will just be very I will spend the 3 to 4 minutes in the next paper. Then we will go to this our hands-on exercise.
Okay, sir. Great, sir.
Yes. So this paper is visible? Yes. So this paper is somewhere related to this. I have shown this paper. Otherwise, I could not have shown because your internet
is not as visible, sir. So it's not visible.
Sir, sorry for the interruption, sir. The paper is not visible.
It's not visible. Okay, let me share again. Is it visible now?
No, sir.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
It's visible, no?
Perfect, sir. Visible.
Yeah.
Yes, sir,
Yes.
now it's visible.
Yeah. So the purpose of giving this paper, because you already have idea based on my previous paper, that how to make use Nsso data and come up with some presentable and interesting fashion. But here it is just linked to this some way microfinance. That's why I have given this data, because this paper is based on another survey of Nsso. It is based on unorganized enterprise survey. An unorganized enterprise survey is they define some kind of own account worker and the entrepreneurship. So here we have taken this, we have defined what is self-employment, and then we have a variable there whether these enterprises are taking credit or not. So it is very much kind of econometric analysis based. We have used some kind of rigorous 2SLS model. Even within 2SLS, we have done kind of experimentation a little bit, but the picture you can even this, but this the first figure is based on this our previous data what we have shown, that employment unemployment. You can come up with a very beautiful picture that, oh yes, in this the entire using that weight and everything, my labor force is distributed in this. That 30% of them are self-employed own account worker, 1% self-employed employer, and 18% self-employed helper. So in my economy, 49%, so about half of the labor force is in self-employment to some extent. So it shows the importance of self-employment, and then how many are getting credit, very less number of getting credit, some descriptively what is their earnings, this thing, that things. Then coming up with that rigorous analysis, what are the determinants to receive credit, who are getting credit. There we have used some kind of this instrumental variable technique. So we had some instrument. I am not going into the details. If you are interested, you just read the paper. But here bank branches in per district, and then proportion of informal borrower. So we have used, and what is the relationship with that instrument, and what is the importance of age of the enterprise. And then it's not age of the individual, it is age of the business itself. And then the asset owned by the owner, where the location of the owner, even the owner's demographic features, their gender, their social groups. So how important these are, even their knowledge in accessing technology, even their social capital, their network, how these are important to get a credit from formal as well as from informal sources separately. We have performed, and then we have approximated the predicted probabilities and estimated ultimately the impact of credit, access to credit on this earnings of self-employed businesses using two SLS model. So access to earning has positive and significant impact across different specification. When we do different specification, we show the robustness in the relationship. Even if we include few variable, even if we exclude few variable, but the relationships remain same. Relationship between access to credit and this earning of the self-employed individuals remain positive and significant. So this kind of shows the robustness of the relationship. We have even shows the robustness with the OLS results also. So when this access to credit is again bifurcated by access to formal credit and access to informal credit, then what is the relationship? Again, we get the positive and significant relationship for both the credit with the earnings of the self-employed individual. Fantastic. So when we have come up with such type of inferences based on rigorous analysis with a scientifically collected data, no one questions on the data. People sometimes question on the methodology. If you are very much clear on the methodology, then you have to concentrate on the inference itself. So one headache is gone, because my data sets, people do not ask much question because data is collected scientifically. So here, after getting the results, you have to draw with some policy implications what we have done for this paper. So I have just given some idea how to make use of the paper. So first few minutes I have spent what is NSSO, and second, how NSSO estimation appears in reputed publishable format. So how now I am going to give you some idea about the steps. You know NSSO, you know the last step. So first step and last step I have given. So how to come up to this first step to last step, that is your second step. The process of extraction and use of the data, I am going to explain that in next 30 to 35 minutes.
Yeah,
description, metadata.
Yeah,
Fantastic. When you have installed this Nsso software, you are well in the data file. And from the data file itself, you will get an idea what is the data all about. So metadata, who has prepared the data, then the study description, everything you will get data. And again, once data sets, before extraction only, you will come to know how many blocks are there. That block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here I have 9 blocks. Again, within every block, it is some blocks are divided into 1, 2, 3. Like that. So here in a 9 block at the aggregate level. So what is there in every block? Before extraction only, you will come to know these are the variables in my block 1, 2. That round number, this one, that one, then weight, survey. What is there in block 2? Household characteristics. What are these data all about? Household characteristics here. You will see the household size. You will see the religion. You will get the social group. You will get the land owned by the household. So you will get the information. And the most surprising, again, if I go to this another block, that demographic profile, that here, for example, sex. I have this male and female. What is the representative of male and female in the data? Before analysis only, you just click on the variable, you will get the descriptive frequencies, that percentage and the total number in the below of this table. That might here this data is represented by 48.6% of female and 51.4% of male. So you can see that every block, how many variables are there. It's a huge number of variables, but before extraction itself, you can have some idea about every variable. What are the variables and what is their picture, the figure, what is the percentage, you will come to know. Now is your second responsibility to extract the block. You may extract all block together. You have to go to this, click on file, then export a data set. I am clicking here, export file, export. Yeah, export all data sets. I have clicked here. You see this window appears. So when this window appears here, you can extract this export format. Dr. Bijo, is this visible, that export data set, one small window?
Visible.
Yeah. Fantastic. So you see how many formats that data can be extracted. It starts with SPSS. You can extract in Stata. So you can extract in SPSS, Stata, and SAS as well. So you see the data, it's based on even the purpose. You are expert in SPSS, so you export the data in SPSS. If you are expert in Stata, you export the data in Stata. So, but you have to mention here itself that export format. I am mentioning here SPSS. So I will start exploring with SPSS. So I have put SPSS. Where my file will be saved, I have given desktop, this one, and then create a subfolder within that with the name of this one. Now, every blocks are selected. If I go for extraction of this block right now, extraction process itself will take some kind of 15 to 20 minutes. So what I am going to do, I am not going to adjust. I am clicking some I'm clicking just 4 blocks here of our interest, that household characteristics, and then demographic particulars of the household, and their work status at this principal activity and subsidiary economic activity status. So all the household level features, and then their demographic features, and then their usual principal, their work status, and these things. So I am going to click OK here. If I click OK, it will take some 5 minutes time. So I am not going to click OK. I have already extracted data. So this is the process to get the extracted data. So this point is clear to you? So once,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
fantastic. So once you click OK, you will get these 4 data files. Your 4 separate data files will appear in your the specific folder you mentioned, and in the format of SPSS. Fantastic. So let me close this and Nestor.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, can you repeat the starting process, please? What sources we'll get? That is what we got Nsso database. But could you please kind enough just start for 2 minutes? So where we'll start? What is the starting point?
Means where will you get the data? Where will you get this NSSO data itself?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Just repeat the process once again.
Okay. Okay. Just let me share again.
Start at the beginning so that it will be confident.
Yeah. It is written there itself. I said when you are in the Nestor file, you can come to know what is the data all about, who prepares the data, how to get the data. So here the access authority, data access. Data is collected by NSSO of that MOSPI. So they have the price for every data set. So I'm not advertising anything. So this is the for NSSO price, but this is for individual researcher, institute, or students, they need to procure the unit level data. That was the format earlier. But let me tell you some good news. Now, some of the data sets are freely available in the MOSPI website itself, that mospi.gov.in. But the data is in some notepad format. You have to do little bit of work to extract, but freely available some of the rounds. But earlier we had to purchase this data. But in addition to that, some of the our libraries like in ICSS are data services there, throughout our country. So ICSR, that is online platform to provide data. ICSR only has created. So they extract the data in SPSS and stata format, individual file, and then they provide. But they provide individual file only. And now we are coming to know how to use. So sir, are you clear with, are you happy with the answer?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got the point. That means it's a paid kind of thing. But we
Some
can get
places you
something
will-
on free. But
Yeah. Some places it is freely available, but mostly you have to purchase, you have to procure that data set. But it is for students. Yeah.
So can you write the name of the website in which we can get the free data set?
It is written here itself, sir.
Achha.
Must be. You
Okay.
see, must be. .gov.in. Okay. Okay. So let me go to this few more explanations here. Yeah. So this folder, in addition to this Nester, the software, in addition to this Nester software, we have reports and supporting documents. We have reports and supporting documents. Here, reports means using the data itself, NSSO come up with some macro estimation and inferences. So it is kind of some about 100-120 pages of these reports. So if you click on the report, you will get to know about the macro figure. So macro figure, even without extracting data, sometimes we use, sometimes professor, students, they code the data. NSSO have given this figure because they don't need to explore much. Their issues are different. So, but for supplementary document, they have used this one. So this information is available. Now, the most important thing is, along with data, we have supporting documents. And in these supporting documents, even within important folder, the most important document is schedule, the questionnaire of the survey. And you need to have the questionnaire with you. And this questionnaire means, I said data is divided into 9 blocks. So what are the each block, what does each block talk about? Block 3 talks about this household characteristics. Within that household characteristics, what are the variables available? Household size, then principal industry, the status of the household, principal occupation status, household type, then religion code. It is mentioned. But where will I get the code? Just below the table or in the next page they provide. So here for religion, the codes are for Hinduism 1, Islam 2, Christianity 3, Sikhism 4, Jain 5, Buddhist 6, like that. So codes are there. Social groups, the code, the variable 6 in that block 3. So social group, the codes are given here. That scheduled tribe 1, scheduled caste 2, other backward classes 3, and others 9. So likewise, I have 9 blocks. Every block has a number of questions. Every questions are quantified in terms of code. Either if it is a code 1 or 2, like sex, it is written here itself, male, female, but it has many codes. Then codes are given either in the previous page or next page. Any question?
So continue, no problem. No problem.
Okay. So the codes are given the below of the table or previous page or the next page. So for every the questions, you will get the specification of the code in the questionnaire itself. So you need to have this questionnaire in your hand to use NSSO data, because once you are with the data file looks like ocean. It's a huge data file, but you have a questionnaire. What is that variable? And what is the code? There you will get 9235 for 11 in you. What that 9 means, what that 1 means, you will get that specific code here. So you are clear about the supporting documents also. Let me move to the data itself. You remember I had chosen data only 4 blocks of that particular file. So in SPSS format. So after extraction of this data, So these 4 blocks are available. Block 3 is visible. Block 3, block 4, block 5.1, and block 5.2. Is visible.
Visible.
Fantastic. So let me open this block 3 itself. Block 3. So here I have a block 3 is about household characteristics, and block 4 is about demographic particulars. Okay. So now you concentrate one thing, and you have to remember these things throughout your life to use any large data sets. So block 3 is about household characteristics. For example, a household belongs to the Hindu community, and within Hindu community, they belong to scheduled caste community. Fantastic. But every member belonging to this household have the same characteristics. But when it comes to these demographic particulars, if 5 members are there in one household, their ages are different. 5 members have different age. Their education levels are different. So their marital status might be different. The gender might be different. Few will be male, few will be female. So likewise, so household characteristics provide the data related to the household. And if I have, for example, 1 lakh household in the data file, and on an average 5 individual belongs to every household, then my individual data file, individual member of the data file will be 5 lakh. No. So household characteristics data file include only 1 lakh individual, whereas my individual data file include the data file for 5 lakh individual, because they are 1 lakh household, but 5 lakh individual are living in 1 lakh household. But I have to merge a data file, because I have to run a regression, or I have to run a cross tabulation where I have 1 variable in household characteristics and 1 or 2 variable in demographic file particular. So unless I merge these 2 data file, I won't be able to use the data at all. So first I have to learn the technique how to merge the data file. So here, let me share one SPSS file. Again, some problem. It is.
Network problem, or if it is so, you can mute your video and do that. Mute your video and
It's
do.
not network problem, Biju, because here I have a very good, possibly it happens when I go to this, but yeah, waiting to program to respond.
Delegates, there are some technical issues. Wait. Sir, your audio is off. Can you please on?
Is SPSS file visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible now.
SPSS file is visible now. That household characteristics.sfe, the data file.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Fantastic. Okay, now you see we have this so many variables in the data file that block 3 household characteristics. I said I have to merge this data file with the demographic particulars, and here you see this the length of this data file is something about 1 lakh 1,957,000. You just note it down that its size is 1,957,000. I am not opening because of this technical the problem is getting created the other data file. What I will do, I am telling you the other data file length is something around 4,59,000. Why? I said that 1 lakh household I have in the data file, but on an average some 4.5 individuals are staying, so I have some 4,59,000 data file for demographic particulars. So now I have to merge this data file with that demographic particular. Here I have variable up to this weight SR. So my variable will be added after weight SSR because those age of the individual and all those variables are not there. And my data file is present. Data file length is 1,997,000. So it has to be expanded to 4 lakh. So how it expands? That one characteristics, for example, religion. That if the household belongs to this religion Hindu and 4 household members are there, this data file gets repeated 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And all 4 times just besides the 4 individuals informations are there in the data file of demographic particular. So this data file will be repeated. It will be generated if based on the number of members staying in that particular household. So I have to expand the size of this data file to merge with the other data file. So here how to merge? Here 2 these steps are there. First, you have to click to this data. After data, you have to click to the sort cases. And in sort cases, I have to identify one key variable. Based on that, the 2 data files will be merged. I have one folder, one variable called HHID. That is the identification of the household. So that at least some identification has to be there between 2 data files. No. So this identification of the household is a common variable. I am asking to make it in ascending order, this data file, that HHID. So household unique identification code, this ascending order, HHID is in ascending order. Fantastic. What is my next step? I have to go to this merge file, and here I have 2 options, add cases and add variable. Can anyone tell me which option I have to choose, either add case or add variable? Anyone?
Add variables because we have to add the variable.
Fantastic, because here I have a number of variable. I am going to have few more variable from the other data file. So here I have to do add variable. Add cases means, for example, I had few states and other few states are there for the same variable. I have to merge that add cases, but here our purpose is add variable. So I have clicked on this add variable. I got this window, an external file. So this is my internal file there, which is already open, that household characteristics. So now I am going to click on my external file. External file is already there in the same folder, that Kerala University presentation, this one, SPSS file. Fantastic. So block 4 is my external file here. I'm clicking here, open, clicking to continue. Fantastic. Here the option, this window is exceedingly important for data merging. So match cases on key variable in a sorted file. What is my key variable? Mr. Devi Prasad?
Sir, HHNI.
HHID.
Sorry, yes, sir. HHID. That's all.
HHID. I have created that is as my key variable. But I have clicked there also. But I have three options here. Both files provide cases. Non-active dataset is key table. Active dataset is key table. Here, which option should I click? Mr. Devi Prasad. Can you tell me which option?
Yes, I have to provide the third one. Active dataset is. I think so, sir.
Why?
Because I have because the dataset I have open is now active, so I think that will add that merging that it will add that variables to that. Yes, I think.
Yes, your answer is correct, but your explanation is partially correct. Let me tell you, three options are there. Both file provide cases. It is, if I expand the statement, it literally means both file provides equal number of cases. But it is not the case here. I have one household file which has only 1 lakh data set, the 1 lakh cases, 1,997. I have another data file which is individual member data file which has some 4,59,000. So both file do not have equal number of cases. So had I already created the individual file and wanted to merge with another individual file, I would have to link with that both the file provide cases. For example, I want to merge one household file with another household file or one individual file with another individual file. But here I have to merge one household file with another individual file. Now I have two left out options. One is non-active dataset, another is active dataset and key table. These two are the active and key. These two are the key words here. Active means, as Dr. Devi Prasad mentioned, the file is open. That is your internal file. That is the active file. And key table means the sorter table. I am asking my household file to get expanded because 1 lakh cases needs to be expanded to 4,59,000 cases. It has to be merged with my individual members. So this is the key table. Had I opened the other file, the demographic particulars, and wanted to merge with this household characteristics block 3, then I would have to link that non-active dataset is the key table. Because this household, the sorter file, the file I want to expand is always the key table. But in this case, my key table is open. Had I opened the demographic profile and wanted to merge with household characteristics, that time my key file would have been non-active. The other file would have been active. But here I have this active data set is a key table. I think up to this point it is clear. So here you have to click. So key variable will detect as HHID. And now you have to click OK. So one warning will come. Key match will fail if data are not sorted in ascending order of key variables. But we have arranged it in ascending order. First, we have sorted it. So we should not be bothered about this message. Now you see the magic. I have merged. I had my last variable weight. After weight, you see one variable came: person, serial number, relation to head, sex, age, marital status. Then there marital status, then general education or technical education to every individuals are added. And my previous all informations of household level characteristics, their religion, their social groups, these are also there. You see the religion, their social groups, these are also there. Now I had shown my earlier data file was only 1,997. I said my other data file is 4,59,000. After merging, this data file should be converted to 4,59,000 data sets. You see, exactly it is 4,59,784. So my file, household file, has been expanded and was adjusted, was merged with my individual member data file. Those file has only demographic characteristics. Fantastic. So let me save this the file here itself. Fantastic. So
sir, here we have to define the variables also in variable view. We have to define the codes also.
Codes in raw data, sometimes codes are given. In most of the cases, codes are given. Okay. So
Okay.
yeah, you don't have to define. If codes are not given, then in label you can specify the code. But in most of the cases, codes they mention that religion code, this thing, that thing. If I click these things, because most of the cases they provide the code. Sometimes it is missing, and based on the questionnaire, you can write in the level. Otherwise, still you can conduct analysis to come in human record. So we have merged these two data file. We have saved this data file also. But here, do we have any employment characteristics? You see, we do not have. Technical education, then status of current attendance, then type of educational institution, then whether they are registered with employment exchange, then vocational training, field of training. Now you can recall. I have grouped them, the data, into different age cohorts. I have compared with education, general educational level. I have educational level here. I have compared with technical education. I have compared with vocational training. Every information I have. I have compared with employment exchange registration also. I have the data. But where is my employment data? That employment data is in another block. And that block is my 5.1, the next block. Now I have already merged this file, household and demographic. So this combined file has become individual data file, individual members. And employment also vary across different members within the household. So that is also individual file. So now I am going to merge this data file with that employment data file. So here, again, the same procedure. The data, sort cases. Sort cases, which is my now key variable? Anyone? Anyone? Anyway, let me tell you that earlier we have used household characteristics as unique variable, as our this common variable for merging. Because one file had household characteristics only, other file was individual member, but they had household characteristics as well as individual member characteristics. But in both the file, I had only household characteristics, because in household characteristics, I did not have individual members identification code. So household member, HHID, that household identification code was treated as a common variable. But now I have two files, both are individual member file. But within a household, different individuals are there. Still, if I use HHID, that household identification code, package will be confused. That member one in same household will be merged with member two of the same household. Some confusion will be there. So each member, each individual has some identification code here, because both the data file is individual member data file. So I have household member unique identification code. Now that will be used as a common variable. And at the same procedure, I have to click the sort cases in ascending order. So that variable is known as PID, person identification code. The larger version is unique identification code for unique household member unique identification code. So PID is now our common variable. But earlier HHID was our common variable. Now we have to go to this. We have done sorted. Now merging. Merge file. Again, we have to click on the add variables because we want to merge few more variables. So an external SPSS data file, we have to click. So 5.1, that principal activity particulars of household member, usual principal activity particulars. So we have to click on that file. So we have to continue. Fantastic. So now which one is our common variable? Merge key variable. Anyone? Dr. Bikram Singh?
The PID is the key
PID is my common variable. Fantastic.
Yes.
So I have PID here. Now you tell me, sir, which option should I click? I have three options. Both file provide cases. Non-active dataset is key table. Active dataset is key table. Which option should I choose for this merging?
So I think first one, both these provide cases. I think so.
Why?
Because both the file have the same number of cases.
Exactly, not exactly. So earlier I had the household and I had to merge household with individual. Now I have individual and I have to merge with another individual characteristics only. So number of cases are 4,59,000 only in both the files. So both file provide equal number of cases. Both file provide cases. So let me click on the key variable. Let me click on OK. Then the message will come. Key match will fail if data are not sorted in ascending order of key variable. So let me click on OK. Since we have already sorted that PID variable before going to this. See, after merging, after PID, what appears? Usual principal status, usual principal activity of the based on NIC 2004, then usual principal activity Nsso code, that is occupation code, that is industry code, and then whether they are in any subsidiary activities or not, and then the location of the enterprise, where workplace where they are working, then the enterprise where they are working, all the features of the enterprise, these things. So there some kind of work profile I got here itself. So I have household features, I have demographic particulars, I have their a kind of work profile, but only principal status, based on principal status. I have another file subsidiary status. If I want to merge, I have to follow the same procedure because they are also the both file provide cases. I have to merge, and again, so is with my weekly status data also. So I have to, once I have individual member, all other files are individual member data file only. I have to merge and I have to create the merge file. So I believe, and then I have to save it. Just it. I believe this up to this point it is clear. You will be able to merge the data file. Next is I started stating that the great advantage of using NSSO data is NSSO comes up with a variable called multiplier, and that multiplier can be used as a way to come up with parameters, the population characteristics. Although I have this sample characteristics, but using these sample characteristics, I can come up with population characteristics because using this weight. How that weight makes a difference, let me explain you in very simple manner. That let me take frequency of any variable, one variable, because you are very smart enough, you will come to know if I give one very small example. That here, let me take this social group. Social group, okay. Is it visible, this file, this frequency, the results?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Fantastic. You see that my 4,59,784 sample is divided like this, and only 1% belongs to this 0, 1, 2, 3. We have to see 0 means it's a missing cases. They did not report anything about their status. But 1, 2, 3, and 9, we have to see the questionnaire. What is that? If I check that 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, what is the questionnaire? Let me quickly check. Otherwise, arbitrarily we can assume, for example, if 1 is ST, 2 is SC, 3 is OBC, and 9 is general. So ST, SC, OBC, and general. So this is the distribution of my sample. So now let me introduce weight. The sample size, it will change the sample the size, and it will change the distribution also. How to use that weight cases? Weight cases here, data, and then weight cases. And here weight cases by, I have to use, they create one weight. Yeah. Weight. Now you see weight by weight, and here also, if you see, go just below, right side below of this, down of this SPSS window, you will see weight on. Can you see that weight on notification? It is weight on. So here, then the same analysis, that frequency I am going to do. So here you see, when I have done for sample, the total sample was 4,59,784. And you see the total sample has become 1.e to the power 9. That means 9 digit after 1. So it is some crores. And the distribution you see, even for that example 1, you see 1, for example, ST. How many are there? In sample, this many. And then after using weight, this has expanded, escalated to this figure. Now you see the distribution. You see that my category 1 was 13.2%. Here the category 1 represents only 8.7%. Category 2 was 16%. You see, after using weight, the category 2 becomes 19.9%. So this weight makes the difference. It gives the weight for particular, because this sampling and their importance, it differs across different regions, different sample wise. So they create a multiplier based on a scientific technique. So using weight, we get the parameter based on the entire population. But there is little bit differences in the NSSO population and census population that we adjust taking ratio if you are interested. As long as you are dealing with percentage figure, so you can go ahead. But if you are dealing with the frequency or the number of the representative cases, then you can adjust with the census population, because we have seen in our over the years that there is marginal differences between this NSSO population and census population. So now you know the merge cases and weight cases. So another very quick things, I will two things in 5 to 7 minutes I will show, that select cases. When do I need that select case? For example, my analysis here, I have this 1, 2, 3, 9. For 1 represents this ST2, SC3, OBC, and 9 general. I want to see a difference between forward cast. For example, this 3 and 9 OBC and general I am putting together, and I am putting this 1 and 2 together, this backward cast. So backward vis-a-vis forward cast. So here, from here you can do analysis. But if you want to run regression, or if you want to create a variable, then you have to some way you have to do the little bit exercise with the data. For example, my purpose is to do only analysis related to SC/ST 1 and 2. I am not going to do analysis related to 3 and 9. 1 and 2. Either I can do here, here I can go, I can do that select case, and select case here, big data select case, and here I have my social group, condition satisfied, What is that condition? This condition is social group equals to either 1 or social group equals to 2. Fantastic. Now I am asking you select it. If you want to create this is one separate file, you have to click here that output delete unselected cases. Then all general, all forward cast will be general and OBC will be deleted. But you can copy the selected file to a new data set and this file will remain as it is, or you can have analysis only the selected cases based on even within this analysis. So just that will filter out, that will not delete anything, will not add anything, it will just filter out. So let me do with this filtering of this data. You can see the cross in right hand, in the left hand side, and you can compare with the release with the social group. You see the social group 3, it is strike out. That means it is not included in the sample. You see when it is 1, it did not strike out. So once you do the analysis, you will get that. Now let me off this weight, because weight you already understood weight. So here let me conduct the same frequency analysis for social groups. So I got it. You see, it is not reporting any more 3, 4. It now my analysis only based on the social group 1 and 2. So you can have your entire regression analysis. You can have your specific purpose. For example, this is very simple example. Sometimes we are concerned only with the self-employed people. I have given example of my second paper that how credit influence self-employment businesses. So I have to select only self-employed. Wage employment, regular wage, casual wage, unemployed, or they are not my concern. So here I had to select only those who are with that self-employed. That code I have given and data was only reflecting the self-employed people. So you know now merging of the cases, you know weight case, you know select case. My last exercise I am going to show you recoding of the variable. For example, no, you now once you selected, now I want to have the entire data file. So here I am all cases. Again, I am now removing the selection. So now you see the strikes all has gone. So I have the entire data sets. Now I have this one. Yeah, here you have to click this transform and then you know the how to compute, but here a decoding of the same variable. You know how to decode because that is very basics of this SPSS. Still, I am going to show what record I am going to do here. My new social group I want to record. So
shall I enough, sir? So we can have a five more minutes and we can have a discussion after that.
fantastic. I will take 2 minutes only. No problem, Vijay. Yeah. So what I said, 1, I am giving 1 also value 1 and add, and 2 also means ST also 1 and SC also 1. I am clubbing them together. And all other values I am giving 0 because I want to create one binary variable, that 1 0 variable. So add 0. So continue. Okay, fantastic. So here I have one record in the same variable. Let me check it. Analyze, descriptive, frequency, social group. You see, now the variable has become only 0, 1. 1 represents that the together 1,34,497 and 0 represents my forward cast. So you know the decoding, you know weight cases, select cases, and margin. So at least basics of NSSO data you know, and then if you know statistics and econometrics, you can do the analysis. Last point, what I want to mention you that sometimes we face difficulty related to that HHID and PID, that household identification code and that individual identification code. these two are extremely important. Without these two variables, you cannot merge your data file. But sometimes these variables are not available. Sometimes it is missing. In 68th round, employment, unemployment data in one file, HHID was missing. So in that case, what will you do? You have to, I don't have time, otherwise I would have shown that you have some the key variable in your data file, and based on that key variable, you have to just merge those key variables and you can create that HHID and PID. Mostly it includes your FSU number, it includes your second stage datum, Hamlet, and this household number. It's very simple that you are staying in a state, within state you are staying in a district, within district you are staying in a block, and within that block a village, and your household number. And once you are done with HHID, then HHID you add with your you merge with your individual identification code, you will get your individual household member identification variable. So these two variables are exceedingly important to merge the data files. So Dr. Bijo, I am done.
Okay, so participants, please unmute your mic and ask questions if you have.
Sir, we have got some questions which have been privately sent to the host. So I'll just read them one by one. Are you okay with that, sir?
Fantastic. You go ahead.
Okay, so the first question is from Priyanka. Can you please explain how we can get free data set from MOSPI? Because unless and until we have the data file, how can we'll have a hands-on training? Although I have tried to download but unable to find it on the site.
Yeah. No, this MOSPI has started providing this unit level data file very recently, because I have downloaded one data file related to health very recently. So data file is available. So in MOSPI site, exact, because unless I show I have to check it. I have downloaded it in MOSPI website. You just make a search in Google, you will come to know. But they are not providing all data files, but they are providing some of the data files. But that data file also not in SPSS format or SData format, that is coming in Notepad format. So you have to that old the technique we used to do when we were doing PhDs, that from this Notepad to text file to SPSS or text file to Stata, that transformation is required, and then the all following procedures can be followed. But another suggestions I have given, ICSS are data services. So NASDOC, their library, that is online library, they are providing the extracted data, means all individual data I have shown, no, that extracted in that block 3, 4, 5.1, 5.2, you will get data in that fashion. But then merging and your subsequent analysis is your responsibility. But that is available in ICSS data service library and NASDOC library. It is free of cost only. I think if your organization is part, I don't know, because our is ICSS an institute only. So we had sent our scan copy of our this identity card. So we became member automatically. But for you, you have to make a query with them that how to get membership. But that is very efficient and useful library.
Thank you, sir.